What's up, buddy?
Man, glad to be here,
Welcome
man.
to St. Pete, man.
Thank you.
Welcome to St. Pete. You've never been here, huh?
Never have.
I think you'll like it.
I love it already.
I mean, you shouldn't be staying in Tampa. You should be in downtown St. Pete.
Yeah.
I don't know why we didn't send you the list of the places, dude. I'm sorry.
That's okay. User error. It won't happen again.
You dropped the ball. North Tampa. So, Storm, what do you, I call you Storm.
Yeah.
Real name's Matt, but what are you doing? Why don't you tell everybody what you do, what you're trying to do, why you're here?
Yeah.
If you know why you're here.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm here.
Okay.
That's number one. I run a fitness production company. So I have events around in Houston, Phoenix, London, and I've been doing that for 5 years. And it's really cool to be able to work with professional and amateur athletes and doing the whole production from A to Z, start to finish. We do bodybuilding and fitness shows at FitX.
And your customer is Joe weightlifter? Joan weightlifter?
It's a little bit more than that. These are people who do this for a living.
Yeah.
So they're pretty serious about being in 5 to 7 days a week in the gym. Their nutrition is on point. They get paid. So I give $50,000 in prize money to winners.
Oh, wow.
And, a lot of the pros and amateurs can compete together. We're the only organization who's able to do this. So.
Do you only do $50,000 or would you give Bitcoin away?
I thought about that.
I got there.
Did you get that?
Just within the first 2 minutes, dog, I'm in Bitcoin.
We haven't found a way to integrate it, and that's not off the table, but I hope that could be an early adoption.
That's so easy, dude.
That'd be cool.
So easy. Not sure why they want to pay with it for Bitcoin, but some people.
Yeah.
Some people do. So how big is the universe? Like, is it 2,000 people? 2 million? How big is that world? I don't know. Like
the market?
Yeah.
Couple 100,000 people here in the U.S., couple million overseas.
Yeah.
So I would say the market is a $635 billion market in the health and wellness industry. And we have a small niche that we appeal to, but we also have a market that we're opening up, like transformation as far as weight loss, health and wellness just to get better. People who lose 50 to 100 pounds, they're getting involved, and we actually have specific shows for them too. So the unlimited potential is there.
Yeah. And that kind of brought you through, that world brought you into like Spaces, YouTube, social media, information, digital information world. Is that?
Yeah, in a sense, when I got into real estate, it was like real estate investing. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? So there was another platform that we all hung out with for 3 years during the pandemic. So we were on for 8 or 9 hours a day. And
that was Clubhouse, right?
Yes. And when that started to die and then flatline, everyone moved over to Spaces. So imagine a community that you built for 3 years and they moved somewhere, and that was Spaces.
Yeah.
That's where I went with it.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I'm really fascinated with, that's one of the reasons you're here. We're talking about some ideas I have about how media is really changing. Maybe media is the wrong word. Entertainment, education, information, and then some kind of wrapper around communities being formed, almost like gravity around central figures, right? You went into Clubhouse. Now, I don't know much about Clubhouse, but it looked to me like it was a bit of almost like a AA meeting on steroids in the COVID environment, where people were complaining, talking, communing. Right. Now, I didn't really particularly like the Clubhouse space just because of and maybe it was just going through the evolution, of all these people coming together and having a megaphone.
Yeah.
But like you've become really, really good at like hosting, co-hosting, driving. There's a whole, maybe not science, but art to making these rooms work, right? That started off only on audio, correct?
Yeah.
They never did video.
Never did video.
Is it my imagination or was it extremely toxic?
It was a sewer. So here's the thing though. You've got a good group of people and you've got a lot of bad people. And I don't think they're bad. They just don't know they're not mature. They're not adults. So if you've got 75% of this audience right here, all they want to do is fight. They want to talk about each other. They want to dox each other and they want to call each other names. And then you've got 25% who are trying to do the right thing and they're for community. Well, when they infiltrate that 25% and they get mixed in, they push them out.
Yeah.
So that bottom half of those bottom feeders stay. And with Spaces, what was interesting was, there is an art to decorum when it comes to speaking, having entertainment and keeping people engaged, but more importantly, acknowledging people. Not a lot of people know about social audio. It is a very small percentage of people, and nobody's turning their TV on anymore. You want to go watch CNN or Fox News or MSNBC talk about their side? Not really. And so if you really want to talk about real connection, you're able to talk to somebody live, like yourself, like a Grant, like someone who's an expert in the space. And when you're able to do that, you're able to actually connect with them at a different level, at a visceral level, as opposed to being just surface level. You only hear of a Gary Cardone. You get to talk with Gary Cardone. Huge difference there.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, really. But I'm just trying to do the transition from, Clubhouse has basically wiped itself out, as I understand it.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting to me that, and this is replicates itself over and over in history, where first guy to the party blows it, right? Like, I hate being first. I think being first, AOL, MySpace, Facebook, now Twitter. Facebook gets wiped out, I think, off the face of the map personally. They're just not changing rapidly enough, serving the marketplace. But how long do you think it took you? Because I would say if someone ran a survey and they said, hey, look, give me the top 10 teams or co-sponsors or mediators, I think you would be on that list. Like, you do a lot of them. How long did it take you to become really good at it? Because you do things on these, like, I love doing a show with you because I have content and maybe some funnies, but it's really beautiful to have somebody there doing okay, guys, look, we need to retweet the space. There's so many things I didn't know about the algorithm and why people do that. There's a whole art and science to running these things. How long did it take you to become really? Do you think you're good at it?
I don't know.
Do you get a lot of compliments?
We get compliments, and I guess yeah.
Who's we?
When I say we, I always say we. I don't say I.
Yeah. Okay.
I do get a lot of compliments, and I think a lot of it was running rooms on Clubhouse, but more importantly, figuring out where your audience is and not knowing about your space specifically in crypto or Bitcoin and being an expert on it.
Yeah.
The goal is to bring experts in and to collaborate with them and have them put in the space to where they can speak on it. All you do is acknowledge the people who are new. You highlight the people who are good, and they keep coming back, and that's how you grow your space. So in answer to your question, I joined X in 2022. And I didn't know what I was doing, so a lot of it was being a student, paying attention, finding out what the host was saying.
But you've been on Clubhouse for
3 years.
3 years. So you knew how to manage a chaotic room.
We were running 3 spaces a day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
We had nothing else to do. I would say
because everybody's trapped.
12 to 13 hours a day. And, my wife and kids, they're doing school stuff, and I'm doing, Clubhouse or spaces stuff. And so it took a very short time. Not a lot of people can do that, time compress it. Just because they don't know how to do it, what to do it. They're not studying or paying attention to people who get good quality transmission.
Yeah. Yeah, you said something that I thought was really interesting about, like, you didn't know anything about Bitcoin. You and I met through these spaces, probably through Grant in some way. I have been very impressed, and for you guys watching who, you're in an industry or you're doing something and you don't know anything about another industry. This guy's a really good example, and I would follow him he was able to come into my world, and he doesn't make believe what he does or doesn't know about crypto, but he's still applying the same help flow to me that allows me to run a room, manage a topic, keep it online, but he's able to not get lost in the details of the information, but still do his job. See, he doesn't need to know every piece about Bitcoin to help me run a room. And it's been really awesome to see somebody come in with zero knowledge of a very, very, very complicated subject with a lot of noise around it. And you have done, like, I can go in there and thumb up, and I know people that don't know how to delegate well, and oh, well, that wasn't right, and that wasn't right. You shouldn't have said that because that's not really a Bitcoin thing. It's like, I look at all that and go, dude, the guy is doing an awesome job of keeping the room together. And for some reason, and maybe it's because Grant so well, you and I think we work really, really well together. I don't see a lot of ego in you when you're doing this function, which is, I think, really important. I was listening to one of Mario's spaces this morning, like, one guy talks the whole time.
Yeah.
And doesn't even say anything. And the subject's on Bitcoin, and I'm convinced he sold yesterday. He hates this. But, and I've probably been guilty of talking too much to some of these too, but I'm learning. Hey, Woodrow, big boy, you want to get in the camera?
I don't think he does.
Have you enjoyed learning about, has this been a good way for you to learn about a subject that you knew nothing about?
Amazing to sit in there. It's like trying to learn a language on Babbel. You know, when you're going to Rosetta Stone or Babbel to try and learn Spanish or Latin, which is a dead language. When you guys talk, I'm like sitting here thinking, what can I take from this? And so and I want to ask you this, why did you get on Spaces? You didn't like Clubhouse, so you moved over to a new social audio yourself, and it caught fire for you. Like, I saw your following go from like nothing to 16,000 followers as of yesterday in like a very short time. So you have obviously intelligence that you talk about, but why do you continue to do it?
Well, good question. I'm actually, the first time I went on, I was impressed with the content. Well, this is what I did. I saw so many people talk. Well, when Elon bought it and he charged for it, that was the moment. I sent him a check or whatever, got paid the $21, and I was like, okay, awesome. Now people are paying. I thought everybody was going to pay. I don't like free. I think free is a shit show. It attracts the wrong player, and I think that's what happened in Clubhouse. And you were at a pandemonium moment where everybody's really, really emotional, angry, upset, scared. It became a form of almost psychology, I think. Counseling, which, by the way, I think counseling and self-help, mental advancement, goal building, dude, it is going to blow up. So I look at that and go, okay, well, there's a shift here now. I would never do this on mainstream media. I am not like Grant. Grant likes the cameras and the lights and all that stuff. I'm not as comfortable with it. But I saw an opportunity to stick my beak into a marketplace and start learning about it. So what I did was, after I paid the Twitter thing, I started going to the spaces and literally would listen for 3 or 4 months. Like, I wouldn't put my hand up. I figured if somebody wanted to ask me a question, they would invite me. I never said, hey, I got something to add. If you think I have something to add, invite me. Otherwise, I'm not going to. I'm just a little bit like that. But literally for 3 months, I remember a Saturday afternoon, all my guys were like, okay, you need to go do this YouTube. You need to get your following big. I'm like, okay, how hard is it to do this? And I'm looking at spaces and how you start the show. And I'm like, didn't know you, didn't ask Grant. I just started a space to see, hey, can I hold the room? I wanted to determine, can I hold the room like I hold the room in a physical environment where, like, I would be a great coach, because there ain't nobody showing up to practice late, and they're gonna practice it. And like, for me, I just watch the Clubhouse stuff and the Twitter stuff. I'm like, why are these people letting maniacs run riot in their kitchen? That's the way and the first time someone got out of control, I just said, hey, look, guys, these are the rules. This is my mother's house. And when you start misbehaving where my mother would slap you silly, I'm going to interrupt you and knock you off. You're out. Like, I'm going to mute you or push you out, but let's be respectful. And the more I did it, the first day went 6 hours.
When was your first day?
5 months ago. Oh, dude, I literally did not get on this thing till March or April of last year when I started buying Bitcoin. Yeah. Maybe even later than that. When did you guys come on board? 4 months ago.
I came on, I think we started in early October.
August of last year, really. That's a little less than 7 months.
How many people were in your first space? You know?
Oh, I don't know. I've never looked at any of these analytics. They talk about analytics, and I don't, I don't even know what 3,000 impressions mean. Is it good, bad? I just wanted to understand, one, can I hold one? Do I have content? I didn't know how do you speak to these people? What's the subject? And what became really fascinating to me was, okay, I have some business experience in 3 industries. See, I have a belief that there's 2 things happening. Mainstream media is being disrupted before the financial markets. And it doesn't need SEC approval. It doesn't need a spot ETF. It doesn't need anyone's approval. Decentralized, our ability to do media here, and this right here, for what? I got maybe $8,000 in all this equipment. $8,000 in all this equipment, dude, to produce almost, 5-star Fox News quality. These guys were all like, "Hey, change your room." I'm like, "Hey, just buy a synthetic freaking display on the back, dude. Like, this is all gonna be so easy to do in the future." And that's what I see. I see this is becoming extremely cheap to do. And whether you and I work together, or whether you're doing your own show and I'm doing my own show, there's going to be tens of thousands of people doing these shows. I don't believe many of them have content. Deep, big, broad content. Why is that important? Well, if you have a lot of content, a lot of experience, and a lot of connections, you're able to attract really high quality guests. Like my buddy Steve Bergstrom, I did that. That would be a great interview for you, a conversation actually. He's my mentor. We just dropped that. He literally called me just now and said, "Dude, I had a guy from Chevron call me the other day, had a meeting, and I walk into his office and the guy says, 'Hey, I just watched your podcast with Gary Cardone. That was unbelievable.'" And Steve's like, yeah, a couple of minutes." He said, "I watched the whole thing, man." Steve's like, "Dude, it was nearly 2 hours." He said, "I watched the whole thing and I loved it. And I'm going to watch it again." Now, when I hear a grown man say that, a 60-year-old retired millionaire who's working for United Way, meeting with Steve, and those pieces, dude, I haven't seen this man for 20 years. So all these pieces are coming together. And he called me to say, "Thanks a lot, man. That was awesome." So I'm not seeing any bad indicators here. Woodrow, get your butt down right now, Joey. You're the bad indicator. All the way. All the way. And I don't have anyone telling me that my thesis is wrong. I actually am, like David Pollock's coming here in a little bit. I do a show with David Lynn. I didn't know David Lynn 7 months ago. I sent him a note. These guys don't do that. "Hey, Dan Takuro, can I have a conversation with you?" Well, they know who I am. So they're like, "Hour? How much damage can I do?" But the real cool thing, I think, is conversation on Bitcoin, experience in real estate. Not nearly what Grant's is, but that's not very.
You could hold your own in that.
Real estate is dumb, Derek. Easy. Real estate is so easy. It does not require any kind of complex intellectual thought process. It doesn't. And Grant will tell you, it's boring. It does not require genius. I personally like a really complex business. I find it funner. But then you bring in energy, and you bring in payments, and I'm sitting here going, I think I could build a new business for not stupid amounts of money. And that's where I think this is actually, and I do these shows like this. Somebody walks in, they're interviewing for a job, we do it. Or what we did with Babette. "Hey, let's just pretend like I have an idea, Storm. And my idea is that there'll be tens of thousands of people that try to do this. Their content will be too shallow. Their consistency, because they're a one-man show, cannot scale one-man shows. They don't scale. You cannot show me one business that scaled as a one-man business. Maybe Kentucky Fried Chicken. Took him 25 years. I mean, it was a long haul for him. I think what will happen is that all of these people will create the advertisement for this type of education entertainment. And then there'll be a few super houses that will say, no, this is a business. We're going to hub up, centralize an activity. Let's call it Cardone Media, Cardone Digital, whatever. and then a bunch of different units come in, contributor, assets of this entity. See, XYZ crypto girl will never, ever be able to sell her business. It's too small. It's not scalable. What happens if she gets killed? But if you're able to centralize it and bring together, okay, you got business, you got funding, you then you bring in 6 creators.
You got a team.
Dude, now you have 6 creators that touch 6 different industries. Ooh, that's cool. Okay. You then have a whole editing team. There's so much value on the centralization piece, and that centralization. What's the problem with Bitcoin? There is no management team, and so your marketing sucks. It's horrible, and it's because there's no marketing team. So what do you get? You get a message from the maxis, a message from the minis, a message from the derivative players, and a message from Wall Street guys. And it's like, wow, these are a lot of different messages, and they're not consistent. You have to self-store in order to be a legitimate Bitcoin holder.
It's confusing.
You have to do it with Coinbase because you're irresponsible. It is really confusing.
By the way, you heard it heard. GC Media.
GC Media. Yeah. There you
go. There's your name. I see it in like lights. We could make it like neon, really big, really small, whatever you want, man.
Yeah, we'll do whatever. These guys can do whatever they want with colors, but we have to have if you have the content there.
Let me ask you this. Tucker came on X. He leaves Fox News, right? He's one of the biggest names. Alex Jones gets reinstated on X. Don Lemon's coming, and I saw your post. Never going to happen. But
Don Lemon will get run over.
He had an audience, and so my question is that going to influx maybe his audience more into X, knowing that that's not their main hub? Are they going? And by the way, this is brilliant from Elon, because now not only Don Lemon's coming on. You think about Joe Rogan being independent and him having a wide range audience, right? You think about an Andrew and Tristan Tate. They've got their audience in Mario. So as you're growing kind of your brand, but also other people are attracting to your brand and you're bringing this under one umbrella, do you see that audience integrating for the new audience that Elon's bringing in?
Yep. Yeah, I can actually see where Lemon, such an idiot, what he'll do, he'll bring his audience to X. And then that X audience will see other opportunities, and then they'll move. They'll move to high quality. Don Lemon, you don't have any content, okay, except you're an over-partier. The only content you have is, hey, let me go. I went out and partied with a bunch of people, did some drugs, hung out with some people, made out.
Read a teleprompter.
It's like teleprompter. I've never used a teleprompter. Me and my brother don't use teleprompter. You shouldn't have to use a teleprompter.
Well, you can't think for yourself. If you're programmed to say what they're designing you to say, and you don't have a free thought and free speech, what's the point? I don't want to be a mouthpiece for somebody.
I see that's another cherry on the top. I think people are going to pay for authenticity and real data. And first 7 months, man, I have no indicators that show me that this thing can't become a real serious matter.
You had your best space last night. And I don't like talking analytics, but I saw the kind of people you had who were speaking, and we didn't have to co-host, we didn't have to host. They just let go and started stories and created the show with your space as guests. And so that took off. So I see more of that. When you talk about indicators, all I see is trending. I don't see a whole lot of decline, and I don't see anything suffering. And I don't see people for 5 hours watching the news, but I see people 5 hours listening into you. So how did you create that?
Well, Bitcoin does offer a window. It attracts a whole group of people. I could not have. This industry is really interesting in that just the industry of Bitcoin is allowing me to attach other people to it. Like my friend Steve, he doesn't know how to spell Bitcoin or BTC. Okay, has zero interest in it. Extremely wealthy. I won't even pitch him. Now, I might ask him to invite me to Williams Energy, to somewhere where they have a piece of equipment that's not efficient, and probably present it to him in that way. But he's just not. I was more interested actually from getting an interview from him to show people that I don't have to stay in one industry to learn what it's like to scale in another industry. when it takes you 3 years to get a meeting with ExxonMobil, and I come into the Bitcoin industry and it takes me 3 weeks, no more, to get a meeting with Fidelity, NYDIG, Coinbase at the most senior levels. And literally, it's not about me. It's about, I would like to meet you, Brian. I can be in New York anytime. Okay, come on in, Gary. 10-day meeting. Dude, wide open. Now, that has never happened to me or Steve. Steve took 3 years to do a deal with Exxon. He's brilliant at what he does. 3 years. That's arrogance, man. That is just big companies going, I don't need to do this. I don't need $50 million. They don't care. $50 million to them, nothing. CNN, Fox News, they're going to look, Gary's only got 3,000 followers on 5 hours. Yeah, bro, and I took 3,000 people from your show. They're not going to your show. Multiply that times 10,000.
Yeah, so don't short yourself. It was 6,000 last night. And I don't think those analytics were right. I'd be willing to bet there were 12 to 13,000 people in 5 hours that tuned in last night.
Well, the good news is we don't pay for one of them.
Isn't that great?
There's no bot. No, the reason I say that, you keep telling me, hey, a lot of people are paying for them. I refuse to pay for these people. I actually don't even like using all the little tricks, clickbait and all that stuff.
You want content. You don't want the retweet, follow, repost, this, that, the other.
7,000 people in there, 6 of them are robots. I mean, who cares, right?
Yeah, but we didn't have bots last time.
I don't think so.
I looked at them. Those are true, genuine accounts.
Yeah. So there's another indicator, like that took 7 months. I mean, those two guys, Bruce and Simon. Simon is one of the brightest guys I've ever heard in financial markets. I didn't even think a guy like me, right? And now but because of the ETF news and the amount of people that were in there, that's the other thing. Like, mainstream media can't do this. I can go light up a show, dude, and then I can invite a buddy. In fact, I did this. There were 5 ETF conversations going on, and Elon, what we need is the ability to merge rooms. Okay, let's say Storm's running a room, 5,000 people. I'm with Jason Williams, very well-known guy in crypto, monster player, associated with Morgan Creek. He's got a room, 6,000 people. I got a room with 2,000 people. Hey man, Jason, let's merge rooms. 8,000 people now, boom. Okay, now you're hubbing stuff together. Again, that's the value of centralization from a decentralized, right? It's like we have to trust some central platform, Twitter. As long as we don't have censorship, this should work.
So there was something that I mentioned. And, when Spaces started, it was all politics. It was, crypto, and that's about it. I mean, you're talking, it's very two-dimensional. You're bringing the Bitcoin aspect. They're bringing the real estate aspect. We're talking about self-improvement stuff. You had a Fox News contributor in the audience last night. He's got almost 1 million followers. We brought him on stage, and he was so thankful to be a part of that conversation because he messaged me. He goes, this is something I have never experienced on this stage. So you're kind of at the ground level for the platform of the topics.
Oh, I can most certainly set the standard.
Nobody else is doing that.
Well, and the rooms are managed. The rooms are in control. They're not like, I've got a brother. Sometimes he shows up in the rooms. He blows the flow with the kind of room. He likes a different room. He likes that, the excitement and the noise. I'm like, hey, look, I don't need that. For me, it's a little too much.
He's on the entertainment side. You're on the educational side.
Well, and he's on the promotion side. Grant's constantly promoting, which is, it's not my strat. It's not the way I do things. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but it's also the jacking with the audience a little bit. Sometimes hell, dude, it's hard enough to hold all these Bitcoin people. Like, I don't need another wild card. Plus, Bitcoin guys get tired of hearing about how great real estate is. It's not really the platform. So Grant will, we're talking about Bitcoin, and Grant's talking about real estate. He didn't care about stuff. He clearly has been very effective. And other people will be very effective. I do think that he has a good point. I was talking to him the other night about the video leaks. Because I'm not sure video is going to work as well as people think it's going to work. I can't. It's going to manage my content. If you make me go on video, then I'm not going to do these 8 till 12 o'clock deals. Like,
You can't be mobile. You want to do things.
I want to move around. Now you know why you hear the bells and the birds, and but if I'm able to roll around, and the people that come to the rooms or invite me to their rooms, they're able to move around, then the content is you're not putting any barriers on when the availability for the content is.
Well, how many bathtubs are we going to hear? We hear the birds, we hear the dogs, we hear the bells. Do we hear bathwater when we're on Spaces anything? Is that going to be a trending thing?
Well, you know what happened on the seems not to bother very many people. I mean, I think it's just this is life.
It's just where we do it, how we do it, and when we do it.
People don't care. Like they don't care anymore. I was like, I can't believe people are in their bathtub. And then I'm like, shit, dude, I gotta go take a bath. Everybody else is taking a bath. I'm gonna take. And I got crazy. I was making a bunch of noise. I literally did that just to get it out of the way and go, okay, I'm taking a bath. Yeah.
We had Vivek in his face peeing in the bathroom.
Yeah. The host
in front of 25,000 people. Yeah, and that made international news.
The host should have muted that. That was uncool. It went on too long. That was whose show?
Was it planned?
I think the host should have muted it.
It gave him a bump. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it did bother me, but like, had I known it was him, I would have pinged him on text.
For sure.
Hey, bro.
The host and co-host can immediately mute when they hear that.
Man, they know.
That's easy.
Especially that crew.
Mm-hmm.
They let that go. If I'm jamming on you and that's not true, forgive me for the judgment. But I think you let it go because it added to the
spice. People like a little salt and pepper every now and then.
But you know, like I would not have done it. If I would have thought about muting, I would have muted the guy. Yeah, come on, man. You got to respect the guys willing to come on. And no holds barred. You can ask him anything. Do you really want to? You know what I'm saying? It just seemed a little rude. I believe in karma, so I don't do that shit. But so, what do you think about my idea, man? Do you think it has any legs, or is it stupid? The idea of consolidating a media team, bringing in people, centralizing all the assets, and then really leveraging. Quite frankly, it's what Mario's doing.
I was just about to say
okay. I might take a little different approach but there could be 30 Marios.
This is a guy who went from Clubhouse, got kicked off of Clubhouse, and he is the largest, hottest, most talked about on Spaces when it comes to running Spaces. He's always got the biggest audience. He rotates topics. So what you just said, yeah, there's an appetite for it. The only difference is he's not touching the topics that you have expertise in, that I have professional expertise in, or somebody else. So I think because he's got the right people involved, all he has to do is get 2 or 3 influencers in there. He can get 20, 30, 40,000 people listening or tuning in. So I think there's an appetite for the things that aren't being touched on right now. How many times have we talked about mental health? How many times have we talked about family, married, divorced, single? There's a whole market for people who are looking for something to be a part of, and they can't find it. You open that up to Spaces, that's a whole new ballgame. How many active users? 640 million active users?
Is that what it is?
Somewhere in there. So imagine if that went to $1 billion. You think you could get 3% of that market?
You're literally talking about walking into a store with 600 million people in it. Like, how can I not look at that opportunity? Because even if
you get 1%, you're in the millions.
Dude, if you get 1/10, right? Mario, I think he's probably got a bunch of advertisers. He's got probably a bunch of subscribers. And I look at all that and go, cool, dude, go. Because as soon as he fills that room up, they're going to spill over. They're going to start looking for other content. They may not agree. I mean, he's got a couple of guys on there. I wouldn't have them.
Like, I'm just curious.
We're recording, but it's one-dimensional. It's too much chatty-matty. It's too much opinion. It's too much opinion. And it seems to have a bias. So, like, there's so much news going on. You can't. It goes on forever.
So you want more fact-driven data. You want it to be punchy. You want it to be, this is what it is. This is the research. Here it is, and present it to people. Is that what you're thinking?
I don't think you can run from global conflicts, religious issues, racism as topics that are hot. War, and then bounce over to finance and interest rates and healthcare and reading the market and doing Bitcoin. And by the way, Trump's going to get shot and buyback. It's going to get thin so fast. I mean, you will overwhelm one media company. What happens when two of them are sick on a day? Well, I see if we're not doing something consistent, I see usage go down. People want to know I'm going somewhere at 4 o'clock. We're going to start doing a show 4 p.m. till 6 or 8 every Sunday. And it's pitch deals, pitch for customers, pitch deals. Now, why does that go? It allows me to go, you can never shill on any of my shows other than this one. This is the shill show.
That's your shill show?
Sunday, come up Sunday. You have 30 seconds. We're going to rip your head off. If it's not good, we're going to tell you what's not good about it. I mean, that got a lot of feedback. Now, see, there's an area where a lot of us can work. I can get Grant. I can get a guy that runs Morgan Creek. I can get venture capital guys on there. I mean, that would be cool, dude. So, real content, you start setting them up every week. Mario can't do that. Some of these guys can't do that. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to try and promote to all these guys. Hey, come into the Shark Show. Pay $10,000 to see which could be fun. I see, an event like that happening on video where you're looking at deals, looking at management teams, grading them, grading their pitches, stuff like that. It's endless opportunities, I think.
Yeah. You also mentioned, though, we've done different experimental topics. Midstream, we change the topic and go completely another direction. We talk about, the jab, then we talk about pitching, and then we talk about Bitcoin. So we found that the audience is flexible and they're fluid because I think they attach to your personality or me or someone who's on the stage that they want to hear from, and they're going to browse their history and look through the rooms or spaces and see wait, Gary's got this person. He's got a Jason Williams on. I firmly believe that when those guys, like a Bruce, like a Jason, like a Simon, when they got up there, everybody flooded because they're not on Spaces.
Yeah.
And when you got them on Spaces, you're kind of like that pioneer. And so that's your room. If you had a scheduled room every week where people knew, or we talk about a shill space, right? Yeah. We talk about a pitch or deal or pitch. So many people don't know how to present themselves in 30 seconds. And they waste so many opportunities. And that's what you hit on. And that's why people were like, dude, we need to do another room like that. I would come in and pay to be on a stage with somebody to actually get my pitch and to get evaluation.
Totally. I'd pay somebody $50,000 to help me with my pitch, not even think about it. So much cheaper than investing in bank who will not do a good job for you.
And there's a market.
I agree. I do agree with that. Yeah, there's a lot of angles on this. I think if you're not careful, there's so many angles on it, you could actually ruin your own business model. You start trying to make money from everything. Because I don't really understand I don't have a clear idea in my mind how the financials work out. But if you put a team of 15 people together, it's not going to be like cheap. Yeah, it's going to be like, okay, we got burn now. We have income. We have outgoing. And we got to generate, how do you generate income? The other thing I like about Twitter, I think you and Grant probably taught me how to do this, was the ability to survey people is really amazing. For nothing. $20 a week to do real proper surveys, to give you a sense of what people want, and what their direction is, their thought process. What do you think the top 3 subjects in this that people are, angsting for?
I'd say politics is clearly, definitively number 1. With the election coming up, I'm sorry, we are not going to compete with the political room right now. We've got guys who are on the ground, who are breaking stories, and any story in politics has everything to do with what's going on in the world. Whether it be a tornado in Fort Lauderdale, whether it be in East Palestine, they've got a train derailment and toxic chemicals in Ohio, or they've got a wildfire in Miami. Those are the topics that can instantly get 4,000 or 5,000 people in a room. Now, with that being said, I do believe there's a space for video. I don't think it's long form. Not on Spaces. You and I did something for 2 hours. There were so many people that said I watched the whole thing. I was shocked.
Really?
I was like, dude, that was an hour and 47 minutes. You sat there for an hour and 47 minutes. I turned it on. I looked every now and then, but I listened. So if they do want to see you and humanize you and see how you move and see how you speak, that's one thing. But you know what? We smiled. We had fun. People like not hearing strictly educational and informal.
Yeah.
They want to know somebody's personality, and
Yeah.
that's what draws them to you. So I think the short form on video is going to work. I'd say maybe 45 minutes or less, because you can sit there for 45 minutes or an hour and do it.
Yeah.
And then Spaces works in another capacity where you have another audience that you can do a night show with.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing it'd be nice to have is turn the video off and then keep going without having to start over.
Yep.
Right? Like, you're not, can't be that.
Move it into a space into the audio, which there is a way to simulcast it.
Yeah.
So we could do a video while we're doing the audio space, which people could listen if they can't watch.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the video cuts, we go back into the space and actually interact there too. There's a way to do it. We just haven't figured it out yet.
Look, I do think the video brings in a level of authenticity or scumminess that you can't get on Spaces. That, I mean, I got some really good feedback. People were like, "Hey, wow, I didn't realize you look like that. You laugh.
You shaved. It looked good. You look smooth. You know,
that's the problem. You got to shave every day.
Oh man! But you know what? Even stubble, people like the fact that they want to see you not in your top form. First impression is great, but more importantly, when they keep seeing you and you keep showing up, they understand that life is not going to be perfect, and neither should you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you really start to get that connection. People start to say, I know this guy because I see him at his house, or I see him with a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
I don't see him in a newsroom behind a desk, you know, with a suit and tie on, reading a teleprompter, being completely monochromatic. Dude, people want that. If you've got diversity where you can see a different side of yourself, my God, you don't live life in that dimension.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it brings really that video element.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the video, I mean, I was surprised I could do it that long and not get bored, you know, not feel like it's getting slammed in.
Because they're interested.
Yeah.
And they keep showing up. And you know, consistency, that's what you and I do. I know when your space is on. I know, and specifically set aside and carve out that time to say, all right, that's Gary's space, we're going. You know, Grant's and Cindy's space and Jonathan's space is 9:00 at night. That's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
And you know what? We don't get paid to do this. We don't have to. Because we would rather show up and be consistent and integrate with that audience that are showing up. Whether they choose to follow us or, you know, get engaged with us, that's different. But dude, you're consistent and you continue to do it. So that's where you're going to find more great people.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I think the consistency, that's the other reason I like this hubbing concept. Because what happens when someone's sick or your kid gets sick? I mean, shit happens, right? This is very human intensive. It's not going to be something you're going to AI tomorrow morning. Now, having said that, see, that's my other play. Like, whoa, the celebrities won't even cost anything in the future. $3,000 a year, $30,000 a year. Who cares? Like, you're not giving away equity in your company. You're hiring robots and look awesome, and they're saying like they're going to be able to scrape a lot of data. It's going to move so fast.
Yeah, there's opportunity here. There definitely is.
What do you think the downside is to the hubbing concept?
You can see where I think some of the pinch points or bottlenecks are going to be. Number one is if you have a group of 5 people, you need to have a director who's able to plug people in and get content that's going to be relatable and also be able to scale and grow. Because there's going to be some that fall out. You know, there's going to be people who get excited about doing it and they think they're going to make all this money and that's not the right person anyway. And they don't make the true connection. So maybe we have somebody in the health and wellness space or the Bitcoin space or the real estate space, and then that person leaves. I would say try 3 people out. And I would create competition. Hey, you're going to be able to be here because you were selected, not because you just volunteered your time to do it. Because the second somebody earns their spot, they're replaceable with 5 other people who are coming up through the system. So I see a lot of management involved, and I understand that because we both run businesses before. To have somebody who's very capable, competent, and being able to see that and anticipate if someone's kind of fallen off, replacing them with somebody better, not somebody of the same caliber.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from a business standpoint or kind of overseeing some from a supervisor role.
Well, I think if there's no clear motive or driver for getting an exit, the hub model doesn't make any sense. You're better off just being your own guy, doing your own content, running your own commercials. But I don't think you'll ever set the Joe Rogan deal is done. It ain't going to happen again. maybe for a taste, maybe for a grant, but you don't need to pay Tucker Carlson another $100 million. You don't need to do that for Don Lemon. No fucking need to pay $100 million. You just needed a few to break open the deal. Now we have what the standards are.
You're also paid for your performance. You bring in the audience, you're going to get paid. If you don't, you're not.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think my concept is the hub would have it'd be an equity play. And so the guy that comes in number 3, to your point, and he's not performing, dude, you're going to lose your equity. Like you don't want to do that. You should have just stayed a single guy. But I'm thinking of 12 people right now that they will never make this by themselves. They're awesome, but they won't make it by themselves.
They need to plug in.
Oh, they do to an organism. And the organism, like, none of this means anything to me unless the organism has a core philosophy that never strays from it. Like, and my deal is, I'm not doing this, dude, unless it's authentic, factual data. If you want to say something about somebody, put it in the nest, dude. I need facts. I love that. When we run a room, dude, you have to do the facts. All the bullshit stops. Just because you got a microphone doesn't mean you should be able to say anything you want. Scott lies. So
you asked about the downside. The downside is the machines go after people who do something big, and they're threatened by it. So I could see, a lot of different ways that people are creators, if they feel like they're being drowned out or pushed out in that space because you've got a better product, they're going to find a way. They're going to say, okay, how do we sabotage this, or how do we go after that? And I think that's easy, though. That's an easy play. That's an easy fix to kind of quell that. Look, if you've got the content and the quality of the product, more power to you. You should be number 1 and on top. Now, to stay on top's the other story. How do you continue to evolve? How do you continue to stay relevant? And how do you continue to grow your audience and scale? If you got those things figured out, which obviously we're, at the ground floor right now.
Yeah.
Once we got those pieces and components together, now we've got a vision and a play to pitch to bigger folks. And then we get more people involved. And it's almost like a black hole, man. They just keep gravitating toward it. But I don't think black hole's the best thing.
Like, did you see the lady that interviewed me on TikTok?
Not yet.
Yeah. What was her name? Remember?
Michelle McCory.
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, all those people will leave. Yeah. They will leave. Kick it up. And we probably need to cut that piece out of that. No, because I'm going to go higher.
Yeah.
And I mean, I need to get her down here, actually. But literally, I'm going on the show, and her cameraman says, hey, just one thing, you can't drink from that Diet Coke. It was a root beer. And I looked at her and went, hey, dude, that is so old fucking news. Like, I'm drinking my fucking root beer here. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like it, let's stop the interview. But, like, well, they're not paying us. I'm like, what an idiot, dude.
They're not even that
Did
big
you
yet.
see on the
Come
UFC?
on.
They're not that big yet.
Seriously,
Yeah,
big
like
John Jones was sitting in an interview.
Like, please.
Monster's their biggest sponsor, and he takes the Monster and throws it off the shot.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that people talk about. I hate to say that, but that went viral.
Yeah.
It wasn't that Monster sponsored them.
Yeah.
It's that John Jones didn't agree with it. He pushes it out. I'm sure he got a talking to about it. But man, I mean, product placement is great. My God, don't be so contractually constricted by not having the freedom to actually create and be you.
Yeah. Well, he's just in the 20th century. Hey, this is what we do, man. We're Kitco. Coca-Cola supports this. And I just look at him like, no, dude, fuck off.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Like these people will not know what to do with people like us. It's just going to be.
And they can't stop it because you're not.
What else, man? What other downsides?
A lot of trial and error will happen because you don't know what's going to work.
Are we doing a lot of trial and error right now?
Yeah, that's what we are doing. I totally get it. You better have Marlboro on there, by the way, too. I mean, there's product placement. You should just put that right there. And we'll put Starbucks. My God, they got to pay for.
See, this is what Gensler did yesterday. You see this? This was basically Gensler's. Hey, by the way, if you guys participate in these markets, you could get hammered. That's his waiver that he's done everything for Bitcoin. He
got Sea-Doo, so there's 3. I mean, we're rolling it. We go Verizon, and we go, iPad and Apple.
Tell you what, dude, I have some toys in there that we could make that guy really start dancing around.
I like that.
Come on. Fucking fun.
Oh my God!
You're making a lot of noise. listen to this Mac 45, Mac 10.
I thought you were going to throw an M1000 out there, just blow up the water. That'd be great.
I'm
Check
like,
this.
Is the property big enough for you to shoot on?
Oh, yeah.
You can shoot on this
Well,
property?
Shoot that bad.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, as long as you don't hit anything. I don't think
No,
there's
but it
anything
would
over
be.
there.
I mean, bullet's going to go a little bit longer than 300 feet, I think.
Yeah.
I pop out. I get my little silence 22 out here.
I saw Becca was walking around with a silencer.
Well, I would just say that there's going to be a lot of things that work, and there's some things that don't. But that's the beauty of building a business.
Yeah, well, it'll be.
You got to see what
the
happens.
People, dude. The people.
Throw it at the wall.
It's going to be the people part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, I want $8 million. Oh, I'm doing more than he's doing.
You should be all right. I got
That's
extra.
going to be the. Hey, can you get people into the idea of building a media company, building basically
Right.
Sure. Okay.
a private equity club where you build a company.
Well, if you keep it exciting and you keep them looking forward, people are going to want to be involved. And some people, you don't have to pay them a thing because they just feel appreciated. They feel like they belong and they're a part of something. Shoot, we hate our families most of the time, right? Because we're forced to be with them. We choose our friends and we choose to either stick with them or we throw them away.
Yeah.
And so that's a company. Here's the thing. 2 years, people are cycling in and out of careers. I've had 2 careers in my entire lifetime at 47 years old because I'm that loyalist. You know, I've been with my same company for 28 years.
Yeah.
That's just what I knew because my father was the same way. We grew up in a different era. So all these young folks who want to bounce around every 2 years and think there's a better opportunity, it's not the case. They don't understand that 2 to 5 year cycle should be 10 to 20. So I think that's another hurdle, especially with these younger folks.
Cycle might be smaller.
Yeah.
So you gotta show them the vision, and you gotta find people that are like, okay, I don't want to do this by myself.
Agree.
See, I don't want to do it by myself.
Why would you?
Well, because I could keep all of it.
Yeah. However,
I mean,
though,
I could keep all of it, but
you
I'm
have
sitting there
weaknesses
going, why
and
would I do
strengths.
that, man?
I have weaknesses and
Oh.
strengths. Somebody else who comes in and brings that part and brings that person up or that company up.
Correct. It's the balance.
And it's much more fun because we can have fun. We can have stupid conversations that turn into an idea that could be $1 billion idea.
Yeah, I want a place where I can go, hey, that's just stupid. Respectfully, it's just a dumb idea.
And here's why.
Yeah, and let's bet on it. And we'll figure out how convinced you
Yeah.
are.
I'm sorry.
Your conviction is based on how much money you put on it. Dude, it's been really, see, this is like, I would never have met you through here. Now you're, nothing, 30 people from Twitter come to my home at parties. Half of them were women. Maybe a third of them were women. And they all travel. Some from New York, Puerto Rico, Miami, Los Angeles, Costa Rica. I mean, that's unusual there. Yeah.
And that trust factor was quick.
And the expansion. I mean, and I don't think you said 620 million people on Twitter?
Ish.
I think that's going to be 8 billion people on Twitter. 8 billion.
When we have 12 on the planet.
No, I think everybody will get into the mainstream. Mainstream media is going to die. The math, this is what I'm so excited about, this window. The math does not work for Donald. He's used to making 12 million a year.
He's got to reinvent himself.
No, he can't.
I'm telling you, watch Chris Cuomo. When Cuomo left CNN, he reinvented himself in a way to where he had to understand that he couldn't push what his narratives were. He had to back off of some of them and reincorporate and adopt others. If Lemon's smart, which I don't know if he is, because I don't know him, but I would say if he's smart, he's got to evolve and he's got to appeal to a bigger audience because that audience that he had at CNN is not on Spaces.
No.
And that'll be the death of him. But if he understands, okay, maybe I soften my stance a little bit here. Maybe I change that.
Who's paying him?
I don't know. And that's what I wanted to ask you because who's paying Tucker?
I have no idea. I think these guys are, well, Tucker raised $150 million. They're building media.
Maybe Lemon's doing the same thing.
Nobody would support him.
Well, you do understand though, this is my only, I see this the other side. Half of the country is here. Half of the country is here.
Yeah.
That half of the country funded Tucker. Yeah. Why wouldn't this half of the country fund Don? I think he could get monetization out of it if he appealed to that base that does not have that audience. And that's the only way I see him succeeding. But Tucker's a bigger name.
Yeah.
Don's not as big. He doesn't need as much as Tucker to succeed, though. Maybe at his level. Maybe in his head, he doesn't want to be that big, or maybe he thinks he is.
Yeah.
But he doesn't need much to succeed because he doesn't have anything else now. What's he going to run to?
Well, the good news is, if he's massively successful, my idea is growth. If he's not successful, my idea is brilliant.
It's still brilliant.
Dude, really. Because these single units are not going to work well.
Yeah.
They're not going to scale. They're just not going to scale. That's, one-man operations have no history. You cannot give me one story where a business scaled with one leader. You always have the COO, CEO, that balance.
So how does Tucker do it? He plugs himself in with Dana White. He plugs himself in with Cardone.
Well, he got to deal
He's
with
on tour.
he got to deal with Twitter first.
Yeah.
Then they raised $150 million for the media company. I don't know where that came from. I'm sure that was not hard. Most people should be terrified of that. See, that's what I'm talking about building. Now, it doesn't scare me at all because I'm like, oh, wow, awesome. You guys are going to launch your program. They can only cover so many topics.
And only have, I would say, at least engaging commentary and understanding of that topic. They can't branch 30 topics. They're limited, 5? Is that kind of what you say?
And it comes down. See, Tucker has content because he's read. He's a student. I think he has content. And he's pushing an agenda, like a conservative agenda. We're crossing religion, spirituality, politics, what's right and wrong. Okay, so he builds a big political thing. Still got finance, man. Still got Bitcoin. Still have health and welfare. You have how to be a good parent. I mean, I don't know a parent that doesn't need that class based on our kids.
Nobody wrote that textbook.
Teachers, if I'm a teacher, I'm moving into Twitter tomorrow morning. Like, I think our platform could have teachers. Teaching people proper things, man. And they're not that complicated. These are not, especially with the graphics you're going to have, man. So, I think all that's doing is spreading the virus out, where people are going to plug into bits and pieces of data, and it's such a vast environment that what do I pay for Zero Hedge? About $12 a month or something, $20. I don't know. I pay for a lot of shit, dude. A lot of information. So,
and you pay for stuff that you don't even use. I'd be willing to bet.
well, dude, I pay $27,000 a year for PitchBay just to find an email. Okay, right? Well, but see, that's why do I do that? That whole group will have access to PitchBay. Yeah. So, I need to get the contact email address for Dan Zapira. I don't know why I use Dan's name all the time, but like it's there. And so the group gets that. Oh, wow, it's shortened by. I don't need a middleman agent to connect. I don't need that.
Well, that's what you just, and I think that was the perfect way of saying it. The folks who are going to win are the people who have access to the people they want. And if they got that, if you got a PBD coming on,
yep.
You got a Vivek coming on, Dan, that's where everything changes, because you know what? Some people could never get access to them.
Yeah.
And they never get that conversation. And the conversation is what people crave. Everybody wants to be a part of something. And you know what? Most people aren't happy with their life. And they want to look, learn, listen. This is the exact way to do it.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong.
Last thing, you just mentioned PBD. See, there's going to be a lot of these guys that do this. He's building one. I don't think he'll ever be able to move into my arena. I don't see any of these guys as threats. The threat is the old legacy media. I will bet you for the next 3 years, he'll come on my podcast, I'll come on his, and we will never even think about hurting each other. It will literally be collaboration. And who are we really winning from? The old guy getting crushed, man. Like, I'll have anybody on. It's all out there.
If you and I had a conversation and my audience gravitates toward you and your audience gravitates toward me, where's the loss?
Yeah.
There is none.
But
you're not competing.
Totally. I mean, what's the word y'all use? Y'all use the word of a siphon off or something?
Yeah.
Siphon you, hey, going to Grant's thing and you siphon off. See, to me, that's an old paradigm. Even the verbiage. I'm not siphoning off anything from him.
It's a weird word, too.
Oh, well, it's a parasitic word.
Yeah.
This has been the ad model. steal because it's finite. It's a finite market share. So you got to steal from someone. I'm like, dude, that's how CNN and Fox destroyed each other.
Yeah.
They separated so much in the news. Now they're getting thin and thinner and thinner. And we're sitting here going, oh, wow, guerrilla warfare.
Nobody's there to fill the vacuum
Nope.
except for us.
Nobody.
And when I think of siphoning, I think of like getting a gas tube,
Stealing
like
shit.
old school. I'm like, that's not cool. I don't want
Not
gas
cool.
anywhere. Yeah. Anyway.
And but it's additive. Yeah. I mean, I had a big name. I was speaking to 4 or 5 weeks ago. I said, hey, how you doing? And he's like, man, these other guys are catching up with me. You know, they're starting to make a lot of noise. I'm like, cannot believe you're worried about it. Like, what? It's an infinite pool of people. You have tapped nothing. Why would you be worried about, oh, he's got more followers, he's doing more content. Okay, cool. It's not going to hurt anyone. So it's good having you here.
No.
I'm really excited about fleshing this out. I think it's got some legs. I don't know if it has Bitcoin legs, but it's got some legs.
You never know. It could be better.
Yeah. Could be.
And next time I'll let myself into the front door, not the back.
Yeah, please. No, don't come in by boat
No
anymore.
boats?
Beck will shoot you in the face.
That's not
She's
good.
always carried.
Yeah, especially if you're shooting out there and all of a sudden I'm driving by. Yeah, okay, we'll definitely come to the front door.
Good to have you, buddy.
And thank you, Gary. Appreciate it.